Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of How to Survive Survival. I am really looking forward to sharing this time with you to give you the opportunity to meet my wonderful, inspiring friend, Alycia Anderson. She is somebody who embodies resilience, in my opinion. She's an advocate, and she really to me has redefined so many things, but definitely what's possible. She's a powerful speaker. She's an inclusion advocate and entrepreneur. Very successful, by the way, who's dedicated her life to challenging limitations, both the ones society places on people with disabilities. And, also, I think from a even deeper perspective, the ones that we place on ourselves. Alycia was born with sacral agenesis, and she's navigated the world as a wheelchair user. She's transformed any kind of adversity that she has experienced into purpose. And she's built a really large platform that centers around confidence, accessibility, representation, and living boldly in a world that often underestimates difference. In this conversation, we talk about so many things, but a few of the subjects that we approach are identity, resilience, and overcoming internal and external barriers and what it means to thrive, not in spite of challenges, but actually because of them. And so I think that this is one of those stories, Alycia really models for us how to keep showing up when life just keeps asking you for more. And I'm really grateful that you're here. And I hope that you are inspired by Alicia's, her wisdom and her generosity as I am. Without further ado, welcome, Alycia. Hi, I'm Jessica Buchanan, and this is How to Survive Survival. This podcast is about what comes after the crisis, after the moment that changes everything, after you've done what you had to do just to get through. Each week, I sit down with people who faced hardship and made a deliberate choice about what to do with it. People who've turned pain into purpose, who found a way to make meaningful contribution because of what they survived, not in spite of it. Because survival isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of who you become next. Welcome to the show. Alycia, I'm so happy to connect with you again after all of these years. Thank you so much for coming on How to Survive Survival.
It is so good to see you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Of course, of course. So, I mean, before we get into like deep into it, and your life philosophies and all of the contributions you're making, I think it's important for people to, understand a little bit more about you and your life and what it's been like.
Okay. Where should we start? Do you want me to start? I guess we should talk a little
I
bit
think
of,
we have to start at the very beginning.
okay. Let's talk about the disability. For those people that can't see me or don't know who I am, I am Alycia Anderson. I was born with a congenital disability called sacral agenesis, which is basically underdevelopment of the spinal cord at the sacrum, sprinkled with a lot of internal um, disabilities. So the invisible stuff, the chronic illnesses, I've had bladder
Mm,
reconstruction, bowel, all the
mm,
things, one kidney, like lots of the internal stuff of my disability has always been the harder piece, but people, what they see is a wheelchair. I live my life from a wheelchair. So this is a lived experience that has been lifelong. I was born an identical twin to an able-bodied sister, and we never left the other one behind because we loved each other. And that love and inhumanity is really probably the foundation of my entire platform and business at this point. But it goes back to those days when we were trying to navigate, well, you want to jump rope? How do I jump rope? And I'm going to go play wheelchair tennis. How are you going to play wheelchair tennis? And
mm.
we always were able to find creative ways to never leave the other one behind. And I think that's a theme that we need to, really have at the forefront of, life and
Yeah.
society and our common ground as human beings in this world. My mom passed away when I was 7 years old from leukemia. And before she died, it was like very important to her that I would be taught to be a strong, independent woman with a disability navigating life. And, my dad took all those lessons really seriously. And I grew up on tennis courts and working and finding paths to be integrated when exclusion was okay, when, the institutionalization of disabled people was still the norm. That was actually the recommendation when I was born, to institutionalize her. She's not going to have a quality of life. And there was a lot of advocacy that had to go behind that for those things to not happen.
Mhm.
I was born before the Americans with Disabilities Act, so to discriminate against disability, to not allow space in school and in society and in general opportunities was okay to say no, leave them behind the wall. So this lived experience that I've had is deeply rooted in survival. To
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
book, and your key word here
Yeah.
is that, like many times in this life, we are not given an easy path.
No.
And we only have one. So what's the choices that you want to make for your own life to try to navigate it? And then also hopefully make some impact and educate along the way about how we could do better. Because there's always an opportunity for us to do better. So, I call myself the first generation access kid. Like, I navigated school before the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then it was
Mhm.
passed. And then I navigated life afterwards. And that advocacy, the pre and post, has given me kind of like a full scope of the work that so desperately still needs to be done in this movement.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, my degrees are both in disability sports science. I work for the Paralympics. I've done a lot of really amazing professional things that I thought were going to take me to my career in those spaces of like working in elite sport and biomechanics from an accessibility standpoint and all those things. And over time, I ended up working in corporate America as in software technology, and had a very successful career doing that as a woman with a disability around boardroom tables, leading teams. And that all those sort of breadcrumbs brought me to the advocacy work that I'm doing in my own business today. And so I don't know if that's a good enough perspective of where I've
Yes,
come
I love
from and
it.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean, I think, you know, I've talked to you before. I think I've actually interviewed you on another podcast that I hosted like a million years ago. So, but it's so good to connect in because I have so many different questions now. I think one thing people would wonder is what is it like to be the twin of someone who is able-bodied, and how did you keep yourself from, you know, being cornered into the victim mentality? Like, because I think that it would be easy to spend some time perhaps thinking like, this isn't fair. Why did this happen to me?
yeah,
And that's from a very like very two-dimensional perspective of like, this is a bad thing. I realize that,
yeah.
but I'm just trying to ask a very general question because I'm guessing that people are probably wondering that.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. And there's several realities to that question. One, like we are taught in our society that disability is bad, it needs to be fixed to
Right.
be whole. And the reality is that it is who I am, like it's part of my identity, just the same as being a woman or all the other things that come along with
Right.
who I am. And um, were there times seasonally, mostly in my adolescence when I was growing up. And I would watch my twin sister going to prom, and I would get dressed and do my hair, and I would have dinner with my parents, and the dating and the relationships. And during that time of my life, it was hard being disabled. It's been hard being disabled to have a lot of scary surgeries where I faced mortality over and over and over and over and over again. But I never looked at my sister like, why me and not her? I we it that thought never really dawned on me. It was just, this is my lived experience. And with all of the hardships that come from that experience. I mean, you've been through extremely difficult things, and I would assume that you agree in some way that, like, when you navigate the tough stuff, like the really hard stuff, the stuff that
Hmm.
scares the crap out of you, that like really scares you,
Yeah.
when you get to the other side of it, whatever, and maybe you don't even succeed all the way, like maybe
Hmm.
there's lessons learned, but you're still trying to, achieve a goal or whatever that might be. Like, there's magic waiting for you on the other side. And those magical things, those gifts that I've learned, those talents, the experiences, my sister has had very different experiences in her
Yeah.
life, and I wouldn't exchange it. My disability isn't something that I would ever wish away or want it to be any different, other than, I mean, maybe like a healthier second kidney would be nice, or things that might
Yeah.
allow my body to function a little bit more with ease. But um, yeah, it's I wouldn't be who I am without the fight, And so those aren't things that I ever looked at like, if she could take this, then I could have a break for a little bit. It's never been that between us. Because when she would run, I would roll beside her trying to keep up, and it's like those moments of trying to keep up with each other one way or the other is where belief is born in yourself,
Mm.
And so she's my strategic tool. Like, she's one of the people in my life that has been astronomically important for me to become who I am. I actually don't know where I would be without her. I get asked that question a lot too. I don't know. She gave me a lot of security. Like, I don't know if things are going to be accessible. I'm uncomfortable, especially when we were young. And she always
Mhm.
had my back. She'd always grab my wheelchair. She'd always make sure I was not. So, I I'm settled with who I am. It's taken a long time. It's taken a
Yeah.
long time
I
to
love
be
that so
authentic in it.
much.
Because I used
Yeah.
to fake. I used to fake a lot that everything was fine. So
And what did that feel like? What did that look like?
it felt like I was trying to make everybody else comfortable. It was like being like in my corporate life, team
Mm.
building events, going to work, I was in sales, so we were traveling all over the place, inaccessibility, wine, but like all these like corporate client events,
Hmm.
nothing was ever accessible, never thought of, and it was like, hey, don't we want you to come, we'll carry you. And I would have to smile through these things, and there wasn't accessible bathrooms, or how would I use, like, literally use the
Right.
restroom? And I don't want to have to say, like, I only have one functioning kidney. Like, I need to make sure these things are like secure so I don't like
Right.
have issues. And so how does that feel? It feels exhausting,
Yeah.
and it feels embarrassing, and
Hmm.
it feels like internalized ableism, which is
Hmm.
listening to all the things that the world says that's bad about disability and not recognizing all the things that come with it that are beautiful. And then me going, oh yeah, this is bad. Like, this makes me different. Like, I am embarrassed right now. And it's taken me a long time to let that go. But once I started like letting it go,
Yeah.
specifically in my advocacy, and on stages, like, you start practicing it, and it's so freeing. And then you
Hmm.
start talking about things that I would never thought, I would talk about in my life, like
Like what? Tell us. Give us
catheter.
an
I
example.
mean, I have to use catheters to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Like, there's certain things that I have to do with my body to maintain it that are like really personal.
Really? Yeah.
Or relationships and dating and intimacy and like all these things that are, like, they're different but beautiful,
Right.
and they're powerful in survival in their own way, like if there
Right.
wasn't a technology for a catheter or a way to adapt certain things, like I would not be alive,
Right.
and so and once you start to have a relationship with that, and you see the beauty and the gifts that come from it literally blessing your life with future. Um, it's incredible, And so
Right.
I turned 50 last year. Like, I'm having these in the last 5 years. It's only been like the last 5 years where I'm really starting to go, wow, this disability thing it's been so hard, but such an incredible, like multi-layered lens to live through, you know? And how boring would I be without it? You know, like I don't know. It feels boring. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh my God. I see, this is why storytelling and sharing what we've been through, what we've learned is so important to me because what an incredible gift it is to be able to communicate that perspective
yeah,
and your lived experience to us. I mean, first of all, I just, thank you for taking the time and going. And it takes energy and it takes
yeah,
strength and courage to do that. So first of all, thanks. And then secondly, like it gives perspective, right? Like this life has been hard, right? And also, I so resonate with your comment about the magic waiting on the other side. Like magic is available to all of us, and I love that you use that word, um, because I believe that too. And I had a conversation with another guest, Marcus, not too long ago, and his platform is really built around adversity. And I mean, because that's what we're talking about here. And he basically made the case for the fact that adversity is really what like saves our lives in the end. And I'm curious, like, does that resonate with you?
oh yeah, yeah. Um, I feel like every stage of my life has been seeing adversity in front of me and choosing whether I'm going to navigate it or not, you know, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't,
Can
you
we
know?
can we unpack that for a minute because
Yeah.
that is essentially like I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this like concept or I don't even know what to call it, but it is a choice.
Hmm.
And I like that you said sometimes you choose it, sometimes you don't.
Hmm.
Do you know why you sometimes you choose it and sometimes you don't?
I think it's situational. I think
Okay.
sometimes there's a goal on the other side of it that I can't like not try or I will be disappointed in myself. It's like showing up for myself. I think sometimes I don't navigate it because I'm really afraid and it
Mhm.
might take me a little bit longer to build up that courage to try again. The trying might be in a different situation or in a different scenario. Um, it might be that, it's probably fear versus, um, I'm really competitive. So
Yeah.
like even just like quitting my corporate job and starting my business, like I did that because I was like, I'm not going to follow. I'm going to lead.
Hmm.
I'm going to be a leader in this. And
Hmm.
if I wait one more minute, I'm going to be a follower. And I've been working too hard my whole entire life for, 45 years when I quit my job. And so, like I think it's probably for me that tug of war between like challenging myself to achieve the things that I want to achieve, even when the world's been telling me no, sit on the sidelines and watch most of my life. Or am I really afraid? And there's fears that I have that creep up that I try to fight, like I have a lot of fear, with my mom passing away when I was so young, like that mortality has always that fear of death and
Yeah.
knowing how present it is has always been very like very, very present in my life. And so like I have a lot of fear that are like deep within me from I think
Mm,
from a childhood,
sure.
that I fight a lot. But I've become stronger as I've aged. So, but without adversity, and I think that idea of it being a choice a lot of us, and this is not me putting judgment on anyone because I do the same thing, is like we think it's happening to us, and there's no other way. It's
Sorry, I'm sorry. Again, sorry, I could feel it coming on and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze. Good thing we can edit. I want to hone in on this because it's
okay.
so, I mean, everything you're saying is so good. Can you start with the happening to us?
I think when we think about adversity, we think it's something that's happening to us instead of it being like a process or situational and something that we need to
Yeah.
kind of navigate. Why is that happening? Why is that there? Why is this? Why me? Why, why
Yeah.
are you the twin? Why,
Right.
why, why?
Yeah.
And that again could be it's so many different answers for so many different like situations.
Yeah.
I don't think the why is the more important part. It's the how, like
Mm.
how do we how do we move? Like how do we move forward? So um
I love that because I spent a lot of time in the aftermath of my kidnapping experience, and I write a lot about this. I didn't ask like why did this happen to me? I know why it happened to me. The question I had that I couldn't get like I just couldn't get over was why did it have to change everything?
mhm.
And so I love that you take it to that next level of like, okay, this is what it is. Now, how are we going to live with it? How are we going to move forward, sideways, whatever? How are we going to learn from this?
How are we going to
Um,
survive? I'm reading your book right behind you.
just how
How
are
are
we going to
we
survive? Yeah.
like,
And not just survive, but
yeah,
how are we going to make this mean something?
yeah,
Because I think we're probably similar in that mindset of like we are purpose-driven people.
yeah.
And so um everything in my opinion means something, has a meaning attached to it. And so how are we going to turn this into something that is a contributor? And so I think that's a great segue into let's talk about your advocacy work.
Okay.
And if you don't mind sharing what it is,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from you, both in
Oh,
conversation and then just watching you and your messaging, particularly in LinkedIn. Go follow her on LinkedIn, please. Um,
thanks for the plug.
but I would love to know more about like that. Was there a moment where you were like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is it. Like this is what I'm supposed to do," or did it just gradually unfold?
It's so funny. I get asked this question all the time. I wish there was this like one moment
Uh-huh.
that like changed the world,
Yeah.
but the reality is it has been all these micro moments along my entire life.
Yeah.
And I didn't always know that I was going to be this global speaker and this educator that's working with, I mean, the companies that I work with. I can't even believe it. Like the things that I'm doing, I used to when I started this business, no idea I could get as far as I have.
Amazing.
And the brands that support and that I have strategic relationships with, like Victoria's Secret and Netflix and these huge brands that don't just hire me to come in and like do keynotes, but
Hmm.
strategic partnerships on consulting and adaptive products and all kinds of amazing
Hmm.
things. And it wasn't one moment out of my life. It was all of these micro moments of finding space that was not built for me, that the world is not built for people with disabilities, whether it's a invisible
Right.
disability or a physical disability or a
Yeah.
combination of the both.
Yeah.
And so in that, we have to be extremely resourceful and innovative to reach the levels that everybody else does, can,
Hmm.
or have those opportunities. Because when I go into work, I don't have to just worry about doing the job. I have to worry about 10 steps before. Is it going to be accessible? Is there a bathroom? Will there be enough breaks? Will I have an issue? What happens with my wheelchair? What if even with Ubers, like I travel over, Uber drives by. Uber sees my wheelchair and drives past me, probably 50% of the time. And when I say Uber, I mean any of those types of
Right, right,
taxis.
right. Ride share.
There's a lot of discrimination and
Hmm.
ableism against disability, and it's because
Hmm.
we're taught that it's bad.
Right.
So I'm trying to shift that narrative. And, when I was younger, I my grandma would tell me like we'd go into grocery stores and I would like 5, 6. I would stop in the aisle, I would fold my arms like I am right now, and I would just get mad, like, why are people watching me? I didn't want to be stared at. I've been stared at
Mhm.
my entire life, just
Yeah.
doing basic things, pushing a shopping cart, pushing my wheelchair,
Hmm.
transferring into bed,
Hmm.
how do I drive, like all those things. And I understand that people don't know what they know, and people don't know what they don't know, and
Right.
they're learning. But back when I was younger, like I didn't want to be watched. I
Sure.
wanted to blend in.
Yeah.
So
Because
that,
you're a kid.
yeah, yeah. And so, but over time, that not wanting to be watched turned into this, like, I feel like I'm living my life on a stage. Like I feel like I'm supposed to be sharing something. And then, I started navigating college and the workforce and just going through stuff that was just hard, and started to have some success and some advocacy, and started to be asked, like, will you come speak? It's disability week or
Hmm.
whatever. And I saw that I was pretty good at it. I was probably being a little tokenized in those moments, like, you're the only one, but that's
Right.
actually not the truth. It's one in four of us, it's over a billion people.
Hmm.
There's people, it's our most common ground, disability, when we're talking about
Hmm.
diversity
Hmm.
initiatives in itself. But what I saw was the pieces that are missing from a workplace standpoint. There's a lot, but for me, the social barriers of being disabled are the biggest blockers. I am having to overcome mindsets and bias that are placed on me that are typically assumptions and unknowns, and they're false a lot of times.
Hmm.
They're the thoughts of, like, that's bad, look away, don't even talk to her, don't ask, you're scared to
Hmm.
say the wrong thing. And I get that we live in a world like that. So I've just tried to create a platform. It's called the Heart of Inclusion, and it's very much about the human experience too, the value, the return on investment of hiring people with disabilities, and creating products that are innovative, like Siri and texting and closed caption, all these things that come out of the workforce now that are innovative, that we all choose because
Yeah.
it's innovative to develop for multi abilities. It's a
Hmm.
path instead of a staircase. There's a ramp. Now
Right.
strollers use it, shopping carts use it, wheelchairs use it. We all, so
Right.
it's a different lens to look under. And because I was in the corporate space for so long, I just had an opportunity to start to share. And I would see how the heart of it all brings people together. And so
Hmm.
that's what I do with the work. Like, I work with these major brands around the world, teaching them about the innovation of accessibility and disability inclusion in the workforce, but also the human value. And it I see in my audiences, like, sparkle in eyes, and light bulbs going off, and beautiful coming together in a world right now that's so divisive.
Yes.
And I see it a space that brings us together, than rather than divide us. And there's a lot of opportunity out there to do better. So
Hmm.
I started speaking, and then I got a TEDx talk. My TEDx talk really elevated my platform. It gave me an opportunity to, it's like having a book or whatever. And
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
really gave me the credibility, and I built my platform out of it, and I
Hmm.
got busy. I thought I was busy when I quit my job. I actually wasn't. So that was a
There's
great
no
moment.
busy like the entrepreneur busy.
Oh my gosh, no. So, but like 5 years later, all in on, we've got a team, and my husband and I both work for the company full time. We're 100% disabled, owned and ran. We're hiring people with disabilities. We want to, talk the talk and roll the roll, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
really share. So, but I had it in me that I felt like I was supposed to say something. And
Yeah.
I guess one thing that did really happen to me, I was at a corporate event when I was still in tech, and I got a really bad kidney infection. I was in Denver, and I'm like, had this multi-million-dollar deal. I was really close to close. I had just had
Mm.
surgery on my kidney maybe 2 weeks before. And I was like, can I go? My doctor's like, you're probably fine. So I go, and I get really sick when I'm in Denver, like really sick.
Mm.
And I end up getting sepsis
Oh
in
my
my blood,
God.
and I'm in the hospital for like
Oh,
a week. And, my husband's like Googling, he's like, oh, well, I think this is actually really bad. I was like, don't tell me, I don't want to know. It's fine.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And the doctor said when I got better that if I would have waited one more day, my organs would have been shutting down.
Oh my goodness.
And but the only thing I could think of while I was laying there was like, Alycia, if you do not get out of here and you do not say and give to this world what you know that you're supposed to do, you don't know how you're going to get there. You have no idea if you're good enough to do it. You have no idea about any of that. But if you waste this path that you were given from day one, shame on you. And that was one of the motivators. So it probably, that's one of the moments
Yeah.
where I got out of the hospital and I started. And I wasn't that good when I started it probably. I'm really a lot better
None of
now.
us are.
But when you're giving back to the world and you see people going, oh, wow, like I see something in her that I see in myself, and now I'm going to try, and
Mhm.
those are the things that keep me really motivated because
Mhm.
I see it happening over and over and over again. So,
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, you're such a tremendous role model in so many ways.
oh, thank
And
you.
that just, that really, that story really touches me. Thank you for sharing
Oh,
that.
yeah. I appreciate you saying that. Like that
Yeah.
mentorship is the most important work that I'm doing. Like I do really cool stuff like with the brands that I work with, but like I also, I work in industries also. Like my platform translates to every industry. There isn't one I
Yeah.
haven't been able to partner with.
Hmm.
But when I'm in insurance or education or like human resources or something that's going to affect policy, and those are some of the industries that are have an opportunity to make things better
Yeah.
or to make things worse. Like I sit on the
Hmm.
Insurance Diversity Task Force in California. I was appointed by Commissioner Ricardo Laura a year ago to represent people with disabilities, business enterprise. I have the inaugural seat ever in California for that advocacy. And it's like when I get to sit in rooms that are literally affecting policy on insurance for
Hmm.
people with disability, like that's a
Wow.
I mean, it's actually really massive,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
or I go speak at a school and a senior walks up to me who had a stroke when she was 7 from jumping on a trampoline, sobbing. I was so afraid to grow up until today. That is why I actually do what I'm doing. Like the Victoria's Secrets and Targets and all the like that's all been really exciting and really amazing, but the homegrown like get down into policy and people
Hmm.
is really what the important work that's going to actually move the needle a little bit
Right. Right.
outside of developing a puffer jacket or something like that.
Well, I mean, the puffer jackets are important too, but
They are.
like affecting change, like
Yeah,
real lasting change
yeah,
for a large group of people who have been historically overlooked.
yeah.
Like that has to feel like a reason to get out of bed every morning.
It feels like what I was supposed to say
Yeah.
before I can't say it anymore.
Yeah.
Like honestly, that is what it feels like I'm
Mhm.
doing. And I've got a lot of younger women. Like I do a lot of women events too. It's not all disability, but a lot of like intersectional
Hmm.
work. And I've got a lot of, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, women and disabled people, like really, it embarrasses me to say it a little bit, but they really look up to me. Like they send me messages like, you're my mentor
Hmm.
and it can make me cry like that.
Yeah.
That really is important to me, to
Yes.
be somebody that can be resourced, that can
Hmm.
have resources for these people, that can help
Hmm.
them. Again, that whole idea of them seeing something in me that they see in themselves and then they're brave to tackle
Yeah.
the adversity, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
disability. So that's been really amazing.
Why does that embarrass you?
I don't know. Like I think I need to start. So Um, yeah, I've worked really hard for all the things that I've achieved.
Yeah.
But I guess I just I don't know. I've grown a lot in this platform, and sometimes I literally sit there going, "How did I get here?"
Mm.
And So when people say those things to me, it feels big, it feels really important. And like navigating entrepreneurship and whatever that might be, like there's always like this, imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough yet, even when you're
Mhm.
reaching heights in certain areas.
Mhm.
So I guess I fight that a little bit, and it probably stems back to being the little girl that sat on the sidelines. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like still trying to find those paths. I'm not sure. But I'm really
But
trying
you
to grow.
found those paths.
I did. I
Yeah,
did.
and you've blazed trails.
Thank
And
you.
now, these young girls, these people, they're following you.
Yeah, they are.
And to your point, I'm gonna lead.
Yeah.
And you're showing us how to thrive, and you're also showing us that it's possible to thrive, right?
Yeah.
And to be in service.
Yeah. My husband and I have a nonprofit called Adaptive Athletics Association. And it's very much because we're both really rooted in sport and fitness and all of that too. Like it's and
Hmm.
some of the most important work there is like we put on like programs like tennis clinics and tournaments and things like that, but we also have like a platform that bridges players together with
Yeah.
sports and equipment, all that stuff. And we've had people come in that are just newly injured that don't even know how to use their wheelchair or navigate their
Hmm.
equipment or whatever. And a year later, I mean, at that point, they're like, some have been suicidal, like some have been in
Yeah,
really dark places too,
sure.
trying to make the Paralympic Games for LA.
Yeah,
Like there's just really
yeah,
big shifts that can happen when you're it's really about being in community. It's
yes,
about not feeling alone, you
yes.
know? Um, so yeah, it's important work for sure.
That's, uh, uh, I mean, it's amazing. And I guess, most pressing question is like, when do you sleep? I mean, it just sounds
I,
like I mean, you're doing
yeah, we're doing a
so
lot.
much good.
I know I need to probably have a little bit more boundaries. It's interesting when you're doing something that you really love, though. Like it's
Right.
become a lifestyle, which I
Hmm.
don't know if that's good or bad either. Like I need to like actively make boundaries around when I'm shutting things off and I'm turning it down. And
Right.
um, but yeah, I don't know. I sleep, but
So one of my favorite like memories that I have of your social media is seeing
oh
you and your husband. I believe you went to Hawaii and you were kayaking.
yeah,
Did I get that right?
yeah, you did.
And I was like, because I love to kayak and travel,
Oh.
and I was like, it's just so cool, how you like let us into your vacations and your
Oh,
life and your experiences.
cute.
And we were just talking about how social media is a grind and it can be really hard, but I also think that that is also a generosity, that helps people connect with you and also can and serve as like inspiration and encouragement too.
Social media has been, I would probably say, the single most important piece of marketing and representation content out there that you can take your own narrative into your own hands. And from a
Mhm.
disability standpoint, since the advent of social media, we've been able to take our stories out of this medical model that you would see in movies of in the hospital dying, I want to like commit
Right,
suicide. Like there's
right.
no reason to live.
This is a bad thing.
This is really, really bad and
Yeah,
it's really, really sick. And
yeah.
it's in the medical, we got to fix it. We got to fix it or
Right.
and to be able to take that what we want to put into the world, which is the very multi-layered lived experience that comes with being disabled, and show it. Is there hard times? Yeah. Are we in the
Mhm,
hospital sometimes? Absolutely, but
mhm,
many people are. And but what else can we do? We can
mhm,
kayak, we get married, we have
mhm,
relationships, we go to work, we ski, we drive, we do all of the things. It might look different,
Yeah.
But we need to see that we can do the same thing in different ways. Like living in this box is not a reality that any of us are going to be able to maintain. Like our
Mhm.
bodies change and age and become
Yes.
disabled.
Yes.
So social media has been massively important, I think, for all of us. But from the disability like advocacy movement, like it's really been huge. And I challenge anybody who's listening to this to change your algorithm a little bit. Find
Hmm.
some, creators that are disabled and start following them because to your point, you start seeing things like people just want to see me like, how do I cook? Like up and down on a bar stool. Like, what am I? And to me, I'm like, I have no idea why people want to watch this. But you don't know what you don't know. It's the
Yeah.
same reason why people have been watching me get in and out of my car and staring at me my whole life because we want to believe in the things that we're taught to not. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of things in disability that we're taught to not believe in.
Hmm.
Um, and so having representation in social media and in movies and in books and on podcast, like I have a podcast called Pushing Forward with Alycia. Please subscribe to it. Like it is telling the most incredible stories of
Yeah.
disability. It inspires me for my voice to be stronger. These people that are like coming out and like creating the most amazing businesses and like the person that wrote the ADA, Americans with
Yeah.
Disabilities Act, was on my podcast. Like incredible, historic, like
Yeah.
unbelievable stories of just like advocacy and fighting and pushing through
Hmm.
adversity and literally story after story after story of magical
Hmm.
things happening when you do.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like we said, so you got to expose yourself to things that you're unfamiliar with, or we don't know, and
Right.
we're stuck in very, 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 very limiting beliefs about other people that are oftentimes, like I said, false, wrong assumptions. And we can't live our life on assumptions. Like, let's find the truth, let's get to the
Hmm.
bottom of it.
Hmm.
So
Oh my goodness. Amen. I feel like I just went to church.
hallelujah.
All of this in the best way possible. I mean, all of it. Yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I wish we had like 5 hours to sit and just talk about all of the things. Um, what are you looking forward to in this upcoming year?
So I've got a couple like really cool things cooking right now. Like definitely my podcast has been a thing of inspiration. We're really growing right now. So that's been
Amazing.
really exciting.
Love that.
I am launching next month a platform called the Own It Mastery Collective, and it is literally it's created for everyone, but it was inspired to be in community with my community, and it's
Mhm.
going to be a bunch of like trainings and resources for people, the younger me's, to learn how to speak and become an entrepreneur and sell and have strategy and like do all the things
Amazing.
to move forward out of the employment boxes that we're based in. So
Mhm.
um I'm working on that right now and I'm really excited about and I'm doing that not because I have time.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I have so many people going, I want to pick your brain. How do I be you? How do I be? So I'm
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
some tools for that right now.
Hmm.
Um, and I've got a children's book deal that I'm not allowed to announce yet, but that's coming soon too with a
Oh, I
really,
love
really
that.
large publishing company. So I'm really excited about that.
Mhm.
And, just trying to hit as many stages and partner with
Yeah.
as many companies that are open to this conversation. The
Mhm.
work that I'm in is in the diversity space, and that's become a little harder conversation,
Yeah.
um, especially in big
Yeah.
corporations, but um, n more important than ever. And so I'm booking
Mhm.
stages and events and trainings and workshops and just trying to scale and get in front of the people who are really wanting to like learn more and have like multi-layered programming within their organizations on these because it isn't a one and done. But more importantly, get in front of the companies and book the companies that are saying this isn't important to us anymore because it actually is. Our workforce is very diverse
Mhm.
and employees feel left behind when we're not engaging, So I'm getting a lot of requests like our booking requests, like Alycia, our employees are asking for more
Yeah.
content on disability forward initiatives. We need to book you,
Yes.
So though it's been a tough market because
Yeah.
of, into
Yep.
last year, I am seeing audiences wanting to come back together into the heart of inclusion and commune again and not be
Yeah.
divisive and be together. So
Yeah.
I think the future is hard but brighter. And I'm just trying to do my part in bringing some good to the world, helping some other people.
Well, it's very obvious to me that you are doing that. So
Thank you. Right back at you,
I
sister.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm so grateful that we found ourselves on a virtual stage like many years ago
Me too.
and have continued to forge this friendship. I admire you. I think I've gushed over you enough on this episode. So
Well, I just want to tell you too, though, like before we go, I admire you so much. I feel like the courage and the strength and the authenticity that you gift out to through your platform to everybody who follows you and is inspired by you and is motivated to like survive, literally, is it's huge. It's huge what you're doing for the world. It's huge what you're doing for women. It's huge what you're doing for anybody who has the ability and the opportunity, the immense amounts of opportunity to like be exposed by the content that you're putting out and how you're educating too. So, thank you for all the things that you do because from the moment I told you, like, you were the most amazing, interesting, probably one of the most amazing and interesting people I've met in my entire life. And I'm sure you hear that a lot. But
you're gonna make me cry.
well done. Well
Mm.
done.
Mm.
Well done.
I think we probably both feel that we're just incredibly lucky
Yeah.
in so
Yeah.
many ways. And I receive that with an open heart. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome.
Alycia, wow, I wasn't expecting to cry about this on this episode, but this is the best part about podcasting is you just like never know what's going to come up and what's going to
Totally.
happen. I'm so grateful for your time and your energy, and the opportunity to learn from you. How can people connect with you if they're interested in all the things?
Okay, thanks for asking. My website, alyciaanderson.com. That's ALYCIA Anderson.com. If you're interested in learning about the Own It Mastery, you can find out all the information there. My social media handle is Alycia Speaking. And on LinkedIn, you can find me my name, Alycia R. Anderson. And I'm an open book. So if anybody needs help and support and disability and women's leadership stuff, please, and beyond, please follow me and reach out.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to How to Survive Survival. If you found something meaningful here, I'd ask for you to subscribe, share, or leave a 5-star review so these conversations can reach others who are walking their own road back. You can learn more about me and my work at www.jessbuchanan.com. And until next time, remember what happened to you is only part of the story. What you choose to do with it is where your power lives.